Mr. Speaker, sir, from the very start, allow me to emphasize on one important provision of the bill which is being debated in this August Assembly. The Section 4 of the Principal Act is being repealed and is being replaced by a new Section 4 which reads as follows. The object of the authority shall be to ensure proper management and control of public beaches in the island of Mauritius, Rodrigues, Agaliga, Tromlin, Corgados, Carajos, and the Chagos Archipelago, including Diego Garcia and any other island comprised in the Republic of Mauritius. This section sends a clear signal regarding this government's commitment to grant the same consideration to each and every single part of our territory. But most importantly, it shows government's strong determination to fight for our sovereignty over the Chagos Archipelago and Tromlin, among others. This bears testimony of this government's consistency in its actions. Monsieur le Président, le gouvernement a dévoilé sa vision et nous travaillons sans relâche pour l'accomplir. Il ne fait aucun doute que demain, les futures générations reconnaîtront le travail qui aura été abattu par ce gouvernement et que nos réalisations seront inscrites en lettres d'or dans l'histoire de la République de Maurice. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is with pride that I'm adding my voice to the debates on this important piece of legislation because thanks to the vision and seriousness of our Prime Minister, Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, I see it as a privilege and an honor to serve, together with wonderful people, two beautiful constituencies, namely Piton-Rivière-du-Rempart and Flac-Bon-Accueil, as private parliamentary secretary. Why have I mentioned these two constituencies? It is simply because in both, there are kilometers of beaches running from Palma, Bellemare, Poste de Flac, Poste Lafayette, and Pointe de Lascaux, known to be among the most famous, most frequented, and most valued by visitors from abroad and the population at large. Our beaches, Mr. Speaker, sir, constitute our pride too. When Mark Twain, in his famous book, Following the Equator, wrote, I quote, "You gather the idea that Mauritius was made first and that heaven is a copy of our island," unquote. He was surely making allusion to our beaches. Access to beaches via the excellent road network devised by the government has been made easy over the past few years, and it goes without saying that we need to toil hard to empower our public beaches with outdoor game facilities with a view of attracting more tourists and the population. For example, enhancing leisure activities on public beaches will foster opportunities for locals and tourists to seal friendship. We can also promote nautical sports such as kayak, scuba diving, and paddleboat, among others. And we need to develop a public beaches in a holistic and integrated manner. Encourage swimming not only as a sport, but as a leisure. It is no secret that whilst being so popular, at times, our beaches ne sont pas si bien gardés, voire protégés par certaines personnes irresponsables qui les fréquentent et qui ne savent pas faire la différence entre l'espace commun et les poubelles, ce qui est vraiment déplorable. Il n'y a qu'à voir l'état de nos plages après les week-ends. Elles font pitié avec des tas d'ordures qui jonchent le sol. Il est de notre devoir de maintenir nos plages propres et en état. Malheureusement, en tant que secrétaire parlementaire privé, je sillonne les villages, y compris les plages, des 2 circonscriptions dont j'ai la responsabilité. Je suis souvent déçu de constater que beaucoup de nos compatriotes ne font preuve d'aucun respect pour nos plages et nos espaces publics. Je suis intimement convaincu que l'éducation demeure le meilleur outil pour pousser les gens à comprendre que nos plages méritent d'être mieux gardées. N'oublions pas une chose capitale, nos plages font partie de ces produits que nous vendons aux touristes. Chaque reportage publicitaire vantant la beauté de notre pays parle impérativement de nos plages. Focus is more on the pristine beaches and our people than anything else. So isn't it our duty to educate people that our beaches need to be kept clean? Without stray dogs as well. Everyone here will surely concede that government, through the revamped MSO, is doing a lot, but yet people refusing to sterilize their domestic animals, especially cats and dogs, go leave their puppies at the beach. An action that I will qualify as reprehensible to say the least. Avec une attitude pour le moins rétrograde, ils ne réalisent pas les préjudices qu'ils causent à l'industrie touristique, poumon de notre économie. Il ne faut pas oublier une chose fondamentale. Pendant presque 2 ans, nous avons subi de plein fouet les effets de la Covid-19, qui a quasiment mis le monde en arrêt. Aujourd'hui, que les activités reprennent, y compris les arrivées touristiques, il est de notre devoir à tous de contribuer à la relance de notre économie. Et garder nos plages en état ne relève pas uniquement de la responsabilité du gouvernement ou des institutions du secteur touristique. Ayant humblement élaboré sur le sujet, laissez-moi maintenant aborder les amendements proposés par un ministre averti, un ministre qui défend non seulement l'environnement, mais aussi, par extension, avec ses amendements, la cause touristique. Un ministre qui veut que le public ait accès à un environnement propre et sain. Oui, Monsieur le Président, il était grand temps de venir de l'avant avec un renforcement des lois. Je suis parfaitement en faveur de ces amendements et je vais par conséquent, en toute logique, voter pour avec fierté. Évidemment, je demanderai au ministre de ne pas lésigner sur les moyens pour conscientiser le public à travers une campagne d'information partout à travers le pays, comme il sait si bien le faire. Yes, it was high time to come with more severe laws, and let us ensure that they be understood more as a deterrent than anything else. It is not with joy and glory that our responsible government wants to apply the law in cases of people faisant fi des règlements existants. But we need to protect the image of our country at a time when some people, des personnes mal intentionnées, veulent fragiliser notre industrie touristique qui a commencé tout doucement à reprendre du poil de la bête. Je l'ai souvent dit et je le répète, tout doit se faire selon les règles et dans le strict respect de la loi. Il est un fait que ce n'est plus possible de pratiquer la politique de l'autruche concernant ces marchands ambulants qui ont depuis quelque temps envahi nos plages sans le moindre permis. Ils ne peuvent pas se permettre de transformer nos plages en foires. Les sanctions sont devenues la seule solution face à ceux qui ont été prévenus mais qui font la sourde oreille. Il est temps de revoir le cadre légal, de revoir les sanctions et imposer des amendes plus sévères à ceux qui ne respectent pas les règlements. Il est donc temps de donner les moyens à la Beach Authority, l'instance régulatrice, pour qu'elle puisse faire respecter et appliquer la loi comme il se doit. Il y a aussi malheureusement des activités qui causent un tort immense à l'environnement. Je fais ici référence à ces barbecue parties qui sont organisés n'importe où sur une plage, alors que le gouvernement a fait construire des endroits spécifiques pour cette activité. La plage est la propriété de tout le monde et il va sans dire que nous tous, nous avons des devoirs et des responsabilités pour nous assurer que chaque plage soit un lieu de détente et non de stress. Trop souvent, une réunion de détente tourne en bagarre en raison justement du comportement de certains qui ne respectent pas l'intimité des gens, les règlements régissant les plages ou encore qui abusent de la bonté des autorités. Il faut donc que les officiers soient investis des pouvoirs accrus pour faire respecter les lois. Halte aux constructions illégales sur nos plages, à l'érection des structures inappropriées, non à la pollution et au non-respect de ces espaces publics, et oui à la conservation et à la protection des plages. Monsieur le Président, ce gouvernement ne fait pas semblant, il agit. Notre priorité demeure le bien-être de notre population, la relance de notre économie et surtout, Monsieur le Président, le respect de notre mère patrie. Long live the Republic of Mauritius. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Honorable Vandani.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the debate on this important bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, let me congratulate the Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, Honorable Kavira Manu, for the commendable work and effort he is putting to improve the environmental legal framework in our island. Mr. Speaker, sir, the people of Mauritius know very well how important the sea and beach are to one of the pillars of our economy, which is the tourism industry. The astonishing beauty of the beach and the sea bring countless of tourists every year, thus contributing to the financial well-being of the island and directly and indirectly contributing to over 70,000 jobs in the sector of travel and tourism in Mauritius, which amounts roughly to 14% of the total employment in Mauritius. And while we are fortunate to have extraordinary coast and beach, we must not forget about the importance of looking after the well-being of our nature. We have the duty to set an example of a good environmental culture to ensure that the tourists find Mauritius in the best conditions so that they also feel the need to respect it. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, though ancillary to the general environmental law, is of utmost importance as it provides the beach authority with the essential powers to ensure that our pristine beach remain a valuable asset and thereby contributing to a sustainable development of our island. Mr. Speaker, sir, once assuming office in November 2019, this government started implementing measures pledged to the nation in its electoral manifesto. And a number of those measures have already been completed. True it is that the COVID-19 forced a change in the strategy, but this government, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, left no stone unturned to take our island to new heights in terms of a green economy, which aims to reduce carbon emission and pollution, to promote enhanced energy and resource efficiency, and the prevention of the loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services to improve the quality of life of our citizens, which include their leisure time on our public beach. Mr. Speaker, sir, warming of the climate system is unequivocal, and since the 1960s, many of the observed change are unprecedented and represents a serious threat to our public beach. The atmosphere and the ocean have warmed with a global mean temperature increasing by some 2 degrees Celsius. The sea level has risen consequently. This bill aims at protecting our public beach around Mauritius and include beach which shall be proclaimed in the future within the Republic of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, being a PPS of constituency number 6, I regularly visit the public beach in the northern region. The powers conferred to the enforcement officers of the beach authority will in no doubt equip them with the right tool in deterring illegal activities, such as traders operating without the appropriate licenses on the public beach, thereby ensuring the safety and security of all beach users. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Beach Authority Amendment Bill is the realization of yet another commitment binding this government to the Mauritian nation. As mentioned in the government program, beach management plan would be implemented on public beach to provide all amenities and leisure facilities, and also to make them accessible to the disabled person. Mr. Speaker, sir, the beach management plan, phase 1, at the public beach of Montchoisy in my constituency was inaugurated on 9 April 2022, and this is a step in the right direction for a more inclusive Mauritius. This function of the Beach Authority is now being codified in the bill, and this, Mr. Speaker, sir, will ensure the continuity and consistency in the implementation of such innovative projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, the recovery of the tourism industry has been kick-started by bold decision of this government, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, together with different stakeholders. And as we look forward to continue our recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, we must commit to re-attract tourists globally. And this bill provides an opportunity to protect our most valuable assets, which are our sandy beach. Mr. Speaker, sir, recently I have received a letter of grievance from the Grand Bay Taxi Owners Association, which comprises of 45 members in regard to a taxi stand put up by the Ministry of Land and Transport and Public Infrastructure following a request by the association. The members are thankful for the needful being done by the Ministry and the TRMSU. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue being faced now by the members is the use of the parking slots by other vehicles and food trucks in total non-compliance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill consolidates the legal framework within which the authorized officer will now be empowered to operate. As Sir Winston Churchill once said, give us a tool and we will finish the job. This bill will enable the authorized officer to exercise better control of all the activities taking place on the public beach and thus ensuring an increased safety and security to the beach users, tourists, and other stakeholders alike. The fixed penalty notice will act as a serious deterrent to prevent encroachment or eyesore in terms of aesthetic buildings or other structure on any part of the public beach. Mr. Speaker, sir, on a concluding note, I wish to emphasize that the provision contained in the bill are vital to address all the challenges being encountered in the control and management of the public beach. This bill reflects the positive and progressive spirit of this government under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister. I seize this opportunity to congratulate my colleague, the Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, Honorable Kavira Mano, and you, for bringing this bill to the House and for the commendable work being done by his ministry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. All my colleagues who intervened before me, they laid emphasis on the importance of this bill. So to better understand the importance of this bill, let me take you back to the year 1961, when Mr. James Mead, who was a Nobel Prize recipient in economics, predicted a poor development prospect for our country because of our vulnerabilities to weather and price shocks and lack of job opportunities outside the sugar sector. However, we managed to achieve what very few sub-Saharan African countries have achieved. We transformed ourselves from a poor sugar economy into a country with one of the highest per capita incomes among African countries. Our success, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a case study on how to make a big success out of a small economy. Sometimes back, Mr. Joseph Stiglitz, who is also a Nobel Prize laureate, also in economics, published an article in The Guardian where he wrote, I quote, "If someone is to describe a small country that provides free education up to the tertiary level, free transport for school children, and free healthcare, including heart surgery, you might think that such a country is phenomenally rich," end of quote. But we know, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we are not that phenomenally rich. However, the point that I want to make here is that we managed to re-engineer ourselves, especially from the year 1985 and onwards up to 1995, and managed to create other pillars of economy. And tourist industry is one of them. And when we talk of tourist industry, the success behind is definitely there is the contribution of our beaches. Thanks to that, we managed to reach a real GDP of above 10% in 1987, as compared to just 1% in 1983. And I seize this opportunity to thank Sir Anubu Jagnat for his vision and determination to take Mauritius to a new height. Mr. Ali Zafar has described our success of those days as a tale of three sectors: the sugar, EPZ, and tourism sectors, which have been essential for the country's economic takeoff. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I explained that the beaches help our tourism industry, beaches are our economic as well as natural resources. They are an important feature of our life, which make about 330 kilometers of our coastline and about 130 public beaches. As natural resources, they add beauty to the coast and provide habitats for many creatures, including birds and sea turtles. As economic resources, they provide services to people and properties that have an economic value. They also generate impacts on the economy and tax base. They are also important to our lives. To some of us, living without frequent visits to the beach and immersion in the ocean would be unthinkable. Apart from providing leisure to our people, our beaches have been our national asset. The country and lots of our fellow citizens are among the 3 billion people of the developing countries who rely on the ocean for their livelihoods. It is therefore clear now that we need to properly manage our beaches, not only to enhance our tourism industry, but also to provide leisure to Mauritians. The aim of this bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is to also meet the challenges in meeting with demands for services. Let me now talk on the amendments proposed to the existing Act. The section 2 of the existing Act, where there is a definition of the public beach, now include that the space between the high water mark up to a distance of 100 meters from the low water mark is the beach. As in the existing law, it just says up to a distance of 100 meters, but does it say 100 meters from where? The section 4 of this bill, it's deal about the management of our beaches. And this is very important, Mr. Speaker, sir, because when I went through this amendment, when I went through this section of the bill, I could not help myself from thinking of Pandits being allocated beaches to run restaurants. Pandits close to the PTR was allocated beach at Tobis to sell tandoori chicken and whiskey. When we are talking of our beaches, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are talking also of those of our small islands around the mainland. The amendment also provides authority to beaches of Tromley Island, Saint-Brandon, and Sagos Archipelagos. As these are our assets that we need to manage and have a proper legal framework so that people will not become owner of these beaches as well. Like at a time, one promoter who is close to the PTR denied access to Îlot Gabriel to the public and even employed bouncers to prevent public to have access to the island. Honorable Mohamed nous accusait l'autre jour de sucer le sang jusqu'à la moelle. You see, Mr. Speaker, sir, claiming money from the public to have access to public beaches, that's what's called sucer le sang jusqu'à la moelle. Bless the country that the PTR was kicked off in 2014. This country was saved from the Draculas and vampires. And from 2015, Mauritians now can accede freely to the beach without payment. Section 12A, subsection 2. And this is the most important, Mr. Speaker, sir, as it deals with the security on the beaches for the beach users. It reminds me of the affidavit of some young girls made on the 11th April 1997, who stated that they were in a very private party in a bungalow at Albion on the 29th March 1997, and during the same night, the press reported that at a certain point of time, one of the girls was chased on the public beach and brought back. That was reported in Le Mauricien of 15 April 2012, because at that time, the press reported that incident because they were celebrating the 15th year since that incident occurred. The press also reported the presence of a minor at a very private party, and the whole saga was named the Macarena Party. There were several presses which talked about the incident, and there were several caricatures of Devon. The former Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. Ajay Debi, had to roam around the island with exhibits hanging at the end of a stick, which he asserted having collected as a public beach of Albion. This bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, talks about the safety of beach users. This is what this government is bringing: security for our girls and all the public on the public beach. This government is looking forward to attract more and more tourists to our island so that we can boost our economy, so that we can go back to normal at the earliest. In this situation, it is important that we bring such laws that will provide safety and security on our beaches and no more of Macarena. Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill on behalf of all our beach lovers and Mauritians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I would like the Deputy Speaker to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Please be seated, Honourable Leopold.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I must thank Honourable Minister Ramanu, Minister responsible for mitigating the climate crisis and environment sustainability at national level. Yes, I have to thank him for taking a national leadership approach and enhancing cooperation between different levels to effectively attempting to manage our coastal zone in a changing environment, and most particularly legislating an important aspect of our coastal zone in giving more power and responsibilities to the Beach Regulatory Authority to respond to the contributing factors of climate change impacts, which are causing a great deal of degradation to our public beaches all across the Republic of Mauritius. The most important task of the Beach Authority is to implement measures to adapt to the impact of unavoidable climate change and to regulate the avoidable causes of a degradation of our beaches, mostly caused by human. With the increased vulnerability of our beaches due to pollution, human activities, the impact of climate change, the Beach Authority, with this bill, will get a broader responsibility to protect our beaches. And one of the most important aspects in view of protecting our beaches, which the bill provides, is a clear definition of a public beach itself. A public beach is clearly defined as the space of high water mark up to 100 meters from the low water mark. This definition is so important as it is a tool for helping to prepare the implementation and management plan and regulating of all activities carried out on public beaches. Mr. Deputy Speaker, beaches will continuously change. It is natural. It is a dynamic evolution dictated, of course, by climate and other forcings, including human impact. With this amendment, the Beach Authority will have a great task ahead. That is the maintenance of morphological structure of beaches, which is not going to be easy because of shocks like extreme meteorological events which may suddenly change the configuration of beaches. This bill is crucial as by maintaining the structure of beaches that will ensure the maximum benefit for the ecosystem and the recreational activities that provide fuel to tourism. A very important bearing also, which the bill covers by giving a clear-cut definition to public beaches, is on the aspect of pollution. Water pollution, which has a direct effect on public health. We have witnessed how our beautiful natural lagoons and beaches are exposed to danger with a recent sad event of oil spilling. Unfortunately, if human exists, there will be human activities. There will be still accidents despite ways of minimizing and prevention. When it comes to seawater pollution, we are not a big polluter, but the ocean is continuous and open. The misbehaviors of bigger polluters from other parts of the globe have an impact on our beaches, as debris and chemical products improperly disposed can travel from long distance and end on our shores. Despite that, in general, 40% of the litter found on our beaches come from the public, and half of them are that of plastic. As we all know, plastic is, in fact, never truly break down. So this bill empowers further the officer of the Beach Authority to monitor and maintain beach health, hence sustaining the beaches for economic, recreational, and aesthetic purposes. Mr. Deputy Speaker, In the explanatory memorandum of this bill, the last point, which is not the least, and to me the most important, because protecting public beaches go way above the management of activities carried out on public beaches. Pollution, safety, and public health are very important regarding the control and management of public beach. A polluted beach will affect public health and inhibit economic growth of the community. It is important, therefore, that the bill provides, as outlined, for all matters connected to public beach safety, from structural development to safer beaches, no seawater accident, no drowning, with clearly demarcated swimming zone, to the monitoring of water quality from impurities. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, managing our public beaches is a complex challenge which requires an integrated approach and a multidisciplinary design. Therefore, once again, it is the role of a government in establishing proper legal framework through the Legislative Assembly to enhance policies of promoting environmentally friendly and sustainable measures. I am therefore supporting this bill by adding my voice to this debate as representative of constituency number 21, Rodrigues Island, and as this law will be also applied to the protection of our beautiful beaches of Rodrigues, and the whole Republic is lucky that in Rodrigues we do have beautiful beaches, and all of them are public beaches. So any person of the Republic of Mauritius or elsewhere can access to all the existing beaches of Rodrigues Island, with only one condition, is to preserve the ecosystem by using common sense. This is my participation in this bill, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for your great attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Francois, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. I thank the Honourable Minister for introducing this bill and all orators who preceded me. The objective of this bill is to amend the Beach Authority Act so as to broaden the functions and powers of a beach authority to ensure proper management and control of public beaches in the island of Mauritius, Rodrigues, Agaliga, and very interestingly, in Tromley, Corgadios, Carajos, and the Chagos Archipelago, including Georgia and any other island comprised in the Republic of Mauritius as per our Constitution. Our international renowned beaches are one of our most precious natural and economic assets for both residents and visitors. The Honourable Minister reported that there are 132 proclaimed beaches in Mauritius and 12 beaches in Rodrigues, with an extent of 28.2 hectares in Rodrigues. This implies that the number of public beaches could still be increased in numbers. Our beaches today are subject to increasing development pressures, climate risks, population growth, and recreational use. The Ministry of Environment and the Beach Authority have a responsibility to formulate clear statewide guidance to secure appropriate sustainable coastal management as a matter of priority. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I understand that there are only 14 coastal conservation plans that have been developed along with a beach management plan and guidelines so far out of the 132 beaches in Mauritius and none for the 12 beaches in Rodrigues. Please do correct me if I'm wrong with regards to the 14 coastal conservation plans. A delicate issue which the authority must look into is the effect of runoff water during heavy rainfall. It implies that the beach management plan must strictly look into it as a matter of precautionary measure from the effect of polluted runoff water and its bearing on seawater pollution on some of our beaches, rightly pointed out by Honorable Leopold. Seawater pollution. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the Honorable Minister Ramano, in his interview in the Development and Cooperation e-magazine, dated 21st April 2021, pointed out, and I quote, "The sea level is rising at a rate of 5.6 millimeters per year at mainland Mauritius and 9 millimeters per year at the island of Rodrigues, while the global average is 3.3 millimeters per year," unquote. The sea level rise as a result of climate change will certainly impact our beaches. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in some places, or some of our beaches, erosion is considerably reducing certain beaches during this decade. And I understand that about 17% of our beaches have been eroded by about 20 meters. In addition to that, the National Audit Office, in his performance report, number 11 of 2013, for the Ministry of Environment, forecasted that 35% of our coastline may be occupied by hotels by 2030. And you can imagine the pressure on our coastal line and beaches. It's worth being noted that from a study conducted by the US National Academy of Science, it is underlined that the chances of a major tropical cyclone occurring in the southern Indian Ocean basin will increase by 18% every decade. One can imagine what will be the impacts of such tropical cyclone on our beaches. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is clear that there is an urgent need to ensure that coastal areas are adapting to the impacts of climate change. Our beaches need to be protected from erosion. Beach erosion, being a natural process, cannot be completely eliminated. However, some measures could be taken to reduce the rate of degradation, and that could allow beaches to regenerate naturally. In our case, we have recourse to beach nourishment, replenishment, beach fill onto eroding and sediment-deficient beach area as what we call soft structural protection. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I recognize that valuable technical assistance from JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, to the government of Mauritius in 2012 through a 3-year project on capacity development on coastal protection and rehabilitation in the Republic of Mauritius. I met some of the experts in Rodrigues as well. It is interesting to note that the 2 demonstration projects carried out, namely at Grand Sable, through the undertaking of gravel beach nourishment, what we call flexible revetment, to protect the shore against wave overtopping, and at Point Destiny, to look into effectiveness of soft measures such as policies and setbacks. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the new Part 2A of the bill regulates prescribed offences of activities on public beach. In a zero-tolerance approach to avoid beach environmental crime, I note the rapid and efficient law enforcement vehicle through fixed penalty notices. It is applying the same principle as fixed penalty notice applied under the Section 191 to 193 of the Road Traffic Act. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I have to put on record that there have been some, what I call malicious, distorted, and demagogical information with regards to the public dissemination of information about this bill through the provision of the fixed penalty notice by an internet radio and social media in Rodrigues. Very unfortunate and cheap. If we compare like with like, the FPN under this legislation is applying the same principle as the FPN under the Road Traffic Act, as I mentioned earlier. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the prescribed offences are clearly defined, and it is the responsibility of the authorized officer to apply the law. In that case, the authorized officer of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly and the police. My serious call is that there is no abuse by any authorized officers, nor the police, as the principal objective of legislation must be clean, green, and safer beaches. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, let me come to Rodrigues more specifically. As I said, there are 12 beaches proclaimed with a total extent of about 28.2 hectares, namely from Pointe Coton via Ansali to Saint-François, from Gravier near Ansfemi via Gravier near Football Pitch to Mourouk and Porcides, from Ansrafin to Petite Bite, and from Ans aux Anglais via Cavern-Provert to Gorbet, for those who know Rodrigues well and for the Rodrigues listening to me. There is still room by the Regional Assembly to take policy decisions to increase the number of public beaches of good quality and to be properly maintained and make them accessible to the general public. A dozen of pristine beaches must also be proclaimed as public beaches, namely Trou d'Argent, Anse Bouteille, Anse Fémy, Baladjirou, Pointe-Meunier, Rivière-Banane Lot 1 and 2, Fumier, Anse-Saly, Vaux-Brûlé, Île-Michel, Plaine-Mao, and Anse-Guélan, Pointe-Jab. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the RA Act 2001 has vested powers to the RA in certain areas of responsibilities, including environment and state lands. The beaches in Rodrigues are vested as state land and therefore is under the responsibility of the Commission of Lands, of the Commissioner. All our beaches are public assets, so any leases or permissions to use beaches in Rodrigues are only granted by the responsible commissioner. The Commission for Environment control, manage, and ensure that all existing facilities and amenities are present on our public beaches. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 27, subsection 2 of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly Act stipulates that government matters for which Regional Assembly is not responsible, that is, the government of any public statutory body, may by way of an MOU authorize the Regional Assembly to act as its agent in respect of any of its responsibilities in Rodrigues. As rightly stated by the Honorable Minister Ramano, a renewed MOU between Regional Assembly and Beach Authority was signed on the 16th December 2020 to promote development and cooperation on the basis of equality and mutual benefit, and to define by mutual consent the areas of cooperation according to the needs, interests, and experience available, and to share such knowledge and experience. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with the present Beach Authority Amendment Bill, a new updated MOU must be signed between the two parties. I understand that the areas of cooperation are as per the established list of the functions of Beach Authority in Section 5 of the Principal Act. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the cooperation between the Regional Assembly and the Beach Authority by mutual consent is by means of accompagnement, that is, regular visits of representatives of Beach Authority with a view to providing necessary support, exchange of technical information, joint identification of technical problems or projects and their formulation and implementation, and any other forms of technical cooperation and must be mutually agreed upon. Further, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with reference to clause 5B to 5E of the bill, with regards to its application to Rodrigues, that is, issue of traders' license, ensure security and safety of users of public beaches, and day-to-day cleaning of beaches, I don't expect the Beach Authority to regulate these activities in Rodrigues, as I believe the local authorities, they can look into that. And at present, I have to say, the cleaning of public beaches is perfectly being carried out by the Regional Assembly government-owned company, Gold Clean Limited. And here, I seize this opportunity to congratulate them for their excellent work to clean and keep Rodrigues beautiful. Bravo, à Road Clean. We are highly aiming in Rodrigues, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, at making Rodrigues, very important, a spotless, beautiful, safe, and clean island within the Republic of Mauritius. And I didn't have opportunity to talk, I did talk about the new legislation with regards to cleaning authorities in Mauritius, presented by the Honorable Prime Minister. I have to say, Honorable Prime Minister, we in Rodrigues also, we are in the same step to make Mauritius and Rodrigues cleaner, safer, and greener. And this is the vision, and this is the way forward for this republic and for our countries. However, with regards to other projects implementation, as per clause 5F, the cooperation between RA and the Beach Authority should be especially for high-cost projects, being given the limited RA budget, which is required for some projects for proper functionality. For example, the upliftment and landscaping works on public beaches and major infrastructural development. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, you will observe that in Rodrigues, there is a strict minimum of trade license authorized on our beaches in order to protect beach users and to respect them, as beaches is a relaxed place. So far, the only authorized activities are tech shops on a few, not all, on a few beaches which are leased to private individuals for the sale of local foods, drinks, non-alcoholic beverages, and other local products. I know that there is an urgency to facilitate people also on non-proclaimed beaches, as I mentioned earlier, especially through construction of access, toilets, kiosks, segregating provisions and rehabilitation and embellishment with solar lightings, picnic tables, and water points. These are avenues that I will request the Beach Authority to be taken on board in their budget share with Rodrigues and their corporation. I obviously expect a proper coordination among all stakeholders in the interest of a sound and proper management and control of our beaches. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, beach erosion and degradation are among the main concerns for our beaches in Rodrigues, requiring immediate mitigating actions for restoration and protection. And here I welcome the study being carried out by Agence Française de Développement on the floodings and erosion on our beaches in Rodrigues, as announced by the Honorable Minister Ramanu. I know that on a pilot basis, the Commission for Environment in Rodrigues and the engagement and participation of the community have embarked in the construction of soft barriers with sandbags at Cavern Prover Beach, Grand Bay, and rehabilitation and embellishment works at Petit Beach beaches, and on a community participation basis thereat. Rodrigues has also engaged in the restoration of some beaches, namely Mourouk, Gravier, Petit Beach, Anses Anglais, Cavern Prover, and Grand Bay, with native and endemic vegetation on a pilot basis. With regards to the use of public beaches activities, such as public gathering, fancy fair, political meetings, cultural, recreational, and leisure activities, the Commission for Environment issues permission for the use of public beaches, followed by police clearances under the Public Gathering Act. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, shall be brief. And to conclude, our clean, green, safe, and high-quality beaches are our vitrine écologique, notre vitrine écologique de notre République, while stimulating our tourism economic pillar. On these notes, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I fully support this bill, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Ramanu, please.
Monsieur le Vice-président, tout d'abord, je tiens à remercier l'honorable Premier ministre pour son soutien dans la présentation du Beach Authority Amendment Bill. Je remercie également, bien sûr, mes collègues et amis de la majorité parlementaire, alors que les parlementaires de l'opposition ont encore une fois choisi la voie du walk-out, dont ils sont aujourd'hui devenus des spécialistes, au lieu d'apporter une contribution constructive à ce débat. L'histoire retiendra, Monsieur le Président, qu'encore une fois, l'opposition a failli à ses responsabilités d'apporter une contribution qualitative à un projet de loi aussi important. Un projet de loi qui touche aux effets du changement climatique, l'utilisation d'un de nos plus grands atouts touristiques, que sont les plages, la survie des petites et moyennes entreprises mauriciennes et la démocratisation de l'accès à la plage. Mais pour nous, de ce côté de la Chambre, nous avons le courage nécessaire pour apporter des changements pour une vie meilleure de nos concitoyens. Nous sommes un gouvernement soucieux de nos responsabilités et nous serons à la hauteur de nos engagements et de nos ambitions et de l'attente de la population. Monsieur le Président, je tiens à attirer l'attention de la Chambre sur le fait qu'il est évident qu'avec les pouvoirs et la compétence révisée de la Beach Authority en vertu de ce projet de loi, l'application des réglementations en vertu de la loi principale sera renforcée pour une gestion et un contrôle efficace de nos plages publiques et aussi pour répondre aux demandes croissantes des usagers des plages, y compris les touristes visitant notre île. Monsieur le Président, Maurice étant un petit État insulaire en développement, Maurice n'est pas épargné par les effets néfastes du réchauffement climatique. Et ces effets sont perceptibles le long des zones côtières, y compris sur les plages publiques. Ainsi, il est d'une importance vitale de proposer des mesures résilientes pour gérer et contrôler nos plages publiques avec une approche holistique et durable. La délimitation des plages allant à 100 mètres du low water mark vers la mer donne une responsabilité accrue à la Beach Authority de gérer d'une façon efficiente le problème de la pollution et aussi le problème de la qualité de l'eau, qui, je dois mentionner ici, fait partie d'une des priorités du ministère de l'Environnement. Ainsi, la Beach Authority, qui s'est déjà lancée dans la mise en œuvre des plans de gestion des plages, pour commencer par étapes sur les plages publiques de Ficanflac, La Prairie, Bellemare, le projet de loi prévoit que l'autorité des plages poursuivra de tels projets intégrés sur d'autres plages publiques. L'importance de tels projets est de répondre aux éléments suivants. Fournir des orientations pour les actions qui réglementent les développements, y compris le zonage des plages publiques pour diverses activités. Fournir des protocoles, des actions claires pour une gestion et un contrôle efficace des plages publiques avec beaucoup plus de professionnalisme. Fournir des mesures d'adaptation, de protection, en vue de faire face aux impacts de l'érosion côtière et du changement climatique. Et fournir les équipements de plage essentiels, ainsi que diverses installations de loisirs pour offrir un maximum d'avantages à toutes les catégories d'utilisateurs. J'ai eu l'occasion de mentionner, Monsieur le Président, de ce projet innovateur qui est de donner l'accès à la plage aux personnes présentant un certain handicap. Et cela deviendra une réalité dans les semaines à venir, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, en guise de conclusion, je voudrais encore une fois remercier le gouvernement d'avoir accepté ma demande de présenter ce projet de loi. Bien sûr, les parlementaires de la majorité pour leur soutien, le travail accompli par toutes les équipes de mon ministère, la Beach Authority bien sûr, l'Attorney General et son équipe au State Law Office et toutes les parties prenantes pour leur soutien et leur collaboration inestimable pour avoir mobilisé leurs efforts dans la préparation du Beach Authority Amendment Bill. Sur ce, Monsieur le Président, je vous remercie.
Commend the bill and seconded. Thank you very much. The question is that the Beach Authority Amendment Bill number 4 of 2022 be read a second time. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Committee stage.
you very much. Please be seated.
Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 3, section 2, principal act amended. Clause 4, section 4, principal act repealed and replaced. Clause 5, section 5, of principal act repealed and replaced. Clause 6, section 6, of principal act amended. Clause 7, section 6A, of principal act amended. Clause 8, section 7, of principal act amended. Clause 9, section 8, of principal act amended.
The question is that clause 1 tonight stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Clause 10, section 11 of Principal Act amended. Clause 11, parts 2A and 2B inserted in Principal Act. Clause 12, part 4 of Principal Act amended. Clause 13, section 18 of Principal Act repealed. Clause 14, section 20 of Principal Act repealed. Clause 15, part 5 of Principal Act amended. Clause 16, section 21A inserted in Principal Act. Clause 17, section 22 of Principal Act amended. Clause 18, commencement.
The question is that clause 10 to 18 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Title and enacting clause.
The question is that the title and the enacting clause stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that I do report to the House that the Beach Authority Amendment Bill number 4 of 2022 has passed the committee stage without amendment. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Honourable members, I have to report to the House that the Beach Authority Amendment Bill number 4 of 2022 has passed the committee stage without amendment.
Yes, third reading.
Sorry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I move that the Beach Authority Amendment Bill be read the third time and passed.
Seconded. The question is that the Beach Authority Amendment Bill number 4 of 2022 be read the third time and passed. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Deputy Speaker, sir, I move for adjournment of the House to Tuesday, the 7th of June at 1600 hours.
The question is that the House be adjourned to Tuesday, the 7th of June 2020 at 1600 hours. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. Adjournment matter. So raising your hand to go home. Thank you very much. Have a good, safe trip back.